All right, we are going to go ahead and get started. Thank you everyone for registering and attending the Data Platform Modernization webinar. This is part of a Cloud Scale Analytics webinar series presented by Motiveworks. My name is Sarah Weeder. I am going to be the moderator today. So let's go ahead and jump right into what we can expect to see today. First, if you are having any problems viewing or listening to the webinar, feel free to follow any of these suggestions. You can go to GoToWebinar support and see if they can help solve your problem. Downloading GoToWebinar is also a huge help if you haven't already downloaded it. You can also join via phone at the number listed if you are unable to join via web. All right. Our presenter today is Tarun Agarwal. He is the Director of Data and AI at Motiveworks. He is a leading expert in his field and has a lot of very valuable insight that he is going to share with us today. So we are very, very lucky to have him. Without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to him and we're going to go ahead and get started.
Thank you, Sarah. Hello, everyone. Are you able to hear me okay? Sarah, yes. You can confirm. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So I welcome everyone to our webinar on Modern Data Platform. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone, depending on wherever you are joining today from. We are excited to walk you through how analytics can transform your business. And more importantly, what concepts you must understand to do more with data. So like Sarah mentioned, this is first in the series of cloud and scale analytics, and today we are going to talk about the strategies you need to build a modern data platform. But before that, just let me give you a few small background about myself. So as Sarah mentioned, my name is Tarun Agarwal. I lead the data and AI practice at Motiveworks. At Motiveworks, we are passionate about data and take pride in helping our customers enable data-driven decision-making. I have over 20 years of experience leading data analytics field across multiple verticals in Fortune 100 to Fortune 500 customers. I have built and helped several data solutions during my 20 years of experience. In terms of agenda today, we will cover the breadth of cloud data platform capabilities. We'll show you how to create an analytics pipeline that goes from data ingestion to business intelligence, empower self-service, and enable truly data-driven culture in your businesses. So without further ado, let's get started. This is a brief background about who is Motiveworks. If you are involved with Motiveworks in the past, I'm sure you know and you've heard about Motiveworks. But just to recap briefly, Motiveworks is a cloud solution provider company and Microsoft Gold partner. We founded in 2010, so we are about 10-year-old. We are headquartered in Towson, Maryland, and we have offices in Philadelphia and Chicago, Illinois. Our delivery center is in Pune, India location. Motiveworks is also backed by its parent company called Axion Lab, and which is headquartered in US and have its footprints across multiple countries and 800 plus people extended team that have worked with about 110 people company of Motiveworks. So we have worked on various vertical industries and verticals like financial services, insurance, healthcare, energy industry, government, and retail and media organization. In addition to being Microsoft Gold partner, we also have partnership with few other ISP providers. Typically, client journey for all the clients that work with Motiveworks starts from anywhere in the spectrum. But as I mentioned, that we are a cloud native company, and we enable our customers for digital transformation, whether it is infrastructure transformation or migration into cloud from a data center to application optimization and workload optimization using modernization techniques, Kubernetes and cloud native services, PaaS services or SaaS services, to application innovation and leveraging data and insights as part of their organization. Before we jump into the meat of today's presentation, let's have a quick poll to understand where are you in your organization in the data analytics journey. So you will see a poll will pop up on your screen in few moments. Please take a moment to tell us where are you in your journey on the data analytics. Sarah, can we have the poll? Okay, thank you. Let's give 15 more seconds, Sarah, to see if we are getting all the responses.
All right, so it looks like we have 40% of people are just getting started and 60% have some reporting capability.
Okay, that's good. Good to hear that 60% people have some reporting capabilities. So I think there is some level of foundation already laid out in their organization, and they are probably looking to understand how do we modernize it. So that's good to hear that. Thank you for that. Okay, so let's start to first understand the importance of data warehouse. That how a data warehouse is fundamental to actually get most out of your data. So bigger question is the data warehouse still relevant? It's a technology that started about 30 years ago, and a lot of change since then. But even with the having influx of modern technology, does the principles of data warehouse still relevant? We will learn about it through some of the slides that and discussions that we will have subsequently. So let's first now talk about how the world of data has changed. First, all the businesses are data businesses. From the corner store with online accounting and stock keeping to the largest internet retailers, we all run on data. An enterprise that does not manage, govern, and secure its data will simply not survive in new economy. It is one thing to gather and manage data, but it's another to make decisions based on it. This is where analytics comes in. Without analytics, data does not serve any role. Whether we are talking about building dashboards and report that supports the current state of the businesses, or talking about servicing the power users with BI and visualization for the knowledge workers to get informed insight about the data, or we are leveraging augmented reality intelligence or artificial intelligence that can discover information and patterns that even experts can overlook. Analytics are important, but it's increasingly evident that not all analytics are equal. Businesses can do more and complex analytics for better, faster, and more automated insights. Data science enable automated insights with depth and scale of beyond abilities of beyond even human people can do. Even small businesses today need scalable insights of social media, digital interactions, and the markets. Machine learning and artificial intelligence drive autonomous processes and decisions for smart organization. So this is the one version of how you can build a cloud data platform for a data-driven business. So this is, again, I would like to have a disclaimer here that what you see here is one way you can build your data platform in cloud, where you can consume data from disparate data sources. We will go through the details of how do you actually do that, and use it to drive your businesses either through reporting and analytics applications or business services in the downstream systems. That could be using cognitive services or conversational UIs or web or mobile applications. So let's start to understand how do we build this data platform. On the left side of this journey, you will see that we are accumulating data from variety of different sources. And as an enterprise system of records, business processes, the data warehouse is mostly built over line of businesses data sources. So whether we are analyzing data from our sales systems, CRM systems, general ledger, accounting, inventory, supply chain, you name it, all of our systems of record that gives the data of the organization. We need to use it, combine it to be able to use it for and drive the insights and the decision making. Or there are data elements of and external systems like web log data, clickstream data, the call records from the call center and the customer feedbacks and the surveys, the data coming from IoT sensor, or even third-party external services that gives us the demographic data, social media data, data that's coming through different types of data like images, audio files, video files. They all need to be analyzed together in order to enable us in organization for decision making. And whether the data is structured, unstructured, or semi-structured, a modern data platform should be able to handle it. And more volatile sources that we get from the unstructured data, they are often used for data science and ad hoc analysis. They still need to have a place in the modern data platform. So once we had all this data that's coming, how do we really ingest all the data that's coming from different disparate sources? So one way of that to do that on Azure platform is leveraging the data pipelines using Azure Data Factory. And Azure Data Factory will schedule and orchestrate data transformation and bulk loads. As well as the Azure Databricks, it will perform transformation specifically for data science and also builds and executes models. It will score these models and load it into the data warehouse. So that allows you to integrate data, whether it's coming from your transactional relation sources through type pipelines in Azure Data Factory, or the data that is coming from unstructured forms or IoT sensor data or the log files, everything that can be consumed through Azure Databricks. Once we start consuming all the data from different disparate sources and ingesting into our system, we need to store it somewhere and then serve it for the analytical needs and the downstream systems. So in a modern data platform world, a data lake may be used to store raw data in high volume for later use, along with staging transform data from Azure Databricks. So you can use Azure Databricks to transform, data wrangle, and consume this data, and also put it into your warehouse that we will be building using Azure Synapse Analytics. That gives you a high performance, high scalable data storage for enterprise models with outstanding security, governance, and manageability. And for the consumption of the data that we are building in the data platform, Power BI consumes the sanctioned data or the certified or the curated data, enterprise data that's coming from the data warehouse in Synapse Analytics for reporting and analytics. But it may also use data from data lake for ad hoc analysis and integrating with the data science. So you can have the data transformed through Databricks that is stored in data lake and stored back to the data lake and use Power BI to run dashboards and visualization. Or you can build your business services like web applications, mobile applications, like automated loan approval in real time or fraud detections, or using any other cognitive services in conversational UI, that kind of consumptions in the business services layer. So that gives you a flavor and overview of how do you build a data platform, a modern data platform that can consume data from variety of the sources and bring it into the system that's available for any kind of consumptions. But now let's understand why cloud. Why is cloud? What is it about cloud that makes this modern data platform fairly easy to build, and why it's necessary? But before we do that, let's go through another poll to understand where are you in your organization in the cloud journey. Do you already have something in your cloud that you're leveraging, or you're still evaluating? So I see Sarah has opened the poll. So please take a few moments to tell us about where are you in the journey.
All right, I'll give you guys just a few more seconds. It looks like we're still getting some answers coming in. So 29% of people are just getting started. 57% have deployed and are using cloud, and 14% will be evaluating migration in the next 6 to 12 months.
Fantastic. Thank you. So I think the number seems to be in line with the previous poll question where 40% people were getting started on the data analytics journey and 60% have some kind of reporting. Seems to be in line with how are they using and adopting cloud. All right, so let's understand why and how cloud enables the building of the modern data platform. Cloud enables projects that are easier to start and easier to scale. ERP, CRM, and operational applications are increasingly cloud native. Collaboration platforms and file sharing have been transformed by cloud flexibility and scale. Even when the governance requires on-premises data management, modern businesses tends to be hybrid. So cloud is really the power that actually enables and able to allow us to scale. Cloud-based data platforms provide layers of protection and built-in security and compliance tools. So in today's world, especially when we are dealing with connected data that's coming from various systems and assets which are external to our own boundaries, we need to have a very high robust security and compliance, and cloud service layers allows us to implement those things. In the cloud data warehouse itself, you can expect encryption, sensitive data classifications, row and column level based securities. But you also need services like threat detection and monitoring, virtual networks, and integrated identity management. Resilience and availability are not just good objectives, but vital security features for global always-on services. Lastly, your application, point-in-time restore, and highest availability all come with the cloud. So all of these features takes months and months for you to start implementing on premises, and you will still not be able to achieve that level of success as you would get out of the box from cloud, and you can scale up, scale down, and tune it based on the needs of your organization. Cloud-based data platforms eliminate the need for large capex investments. So you don't need to buy multiple servers and hundreds and thousands and millions of dollars in capex investments buying the hardware that is needed to build this platform. Deploying your data warehouse in the cloud is faster, easier, and more flexible than a traditional data solution without high hardware and infrastructure cost. Iterating designs and handling diverse data is far more efficient than on an on-premises solution. And world-class performance is available to all users, especially in case of Azure Synapse Analytics. It optimizes analytical and operational workload with elastic scaling. So you can scale up and down using Snap Analytics and not worry about huge investment in the hardware that may be used only 20% of the time. And as the volume and the variety of data continue to expand, a modern cloud-based data platform can serve as the home for all your data. Whether it is enterprise models, business intelligence, or analytical sandbox for predictions, they all can be stored, managed, and provisioned together. Enterprise ETL or the self-servicing data wrangling, both can efficiently handle with no need to juggle on the processing schedules that I need to schedule this job right now and then I need to wait for another job to start after a few hours something. You all can juggle multiple data workloads in the cloud at scale at the same time and deliver enterprise-wide reporting and enable ad hoc data discovery with endless variety of visualization and data science tools available at your fingertips. So all of these things are actually coming together with the power that Microsoft Azure brings with combination of Power BI and Azure Synapse Analytics. Power BI is a market-leading platform and it offers incredible capabilities on Azure Synapse Analytics. For some of you who might not be fully familiar with Azure Synapse Analytics, Azure Synapse Analytics is a brand new offering that Microsoft Azure platform has released very recently. It was formerly called as Azure SQL Data Warehouse, but this is not just a rename or the rebranding of Azure SQL Data Warehouse. It is a brand new capability that provides seamless data ingestion and data transformation along with the horsepower of the SQL Data Warehouse. So if you are already a SQL Data Warehouse customers, you can continue to run your existing data warehouse workload in the new environment today in Snap Analytics. Nothing will change. But if you are a new customer or a prospective customer who are thinking about SQL Data Warehouse, you should now start thinking about Snap Analytics from the newer lens, because it allows you to integrate and ingest the data directly through pipelines inside the platform. And the data warehouse query performance is no longer a matter of just IT. You do not need IT to enable every single thing a business users are trying to do for decision making. Today's leading tools like Power BI can analyze and visualize large volume of data, self-service user queries, and offer exploratory and ad hoc analysis, which is on demand. And Power BI users wishing to analyze real-time unstructured data need a scalable platform which can be queried easily with familiar syntax and connectivity. So you don't need to learn a lot of things new. You can leverage your existing knowledge with these new tools and get started in no time. So we come back to our diagram that we started, understanding this whole data platform journey. Again, this brings all of those things together, and we will wrap this session with some final thoughts. As the modern data platform serves many enterprise data functions, it can consolidate business data, integrate machine learning into the mainstream business, and provision vital resources for governed self-service. So this is what is one of the strategy and one of the ways you can build a modern data platform using Azure platform. It allows you to bring in data from disparate data sources coming into the single pane of glass and exposing it to the downstream systems for consumption. So in a nutshell, the data warehouse still has its mojo. It's only getting better. The tools have changed, but the concept still applies, and you still very much the 30-year-old technology still very much in play, and it's only getting better. Now, with all this knowledge about how do we build a modern data platform, let's see how do we really use this modern data platform that we do for cloud scale analytics, and what are some of the common scenarios and patterns people use to leverage cloud scale analytics. But before we do that, let's have another survey and to understand all those people who have some kind of reporting. I think last time I heard 57%. What are some of your biggest impediments to leverage the data? So you should have the poll pop up on your screens. Please take a few moments to help us understand what are some of your biggest impediments, and we will try to see how cloud can able to enable you to move away from those impediments.
All right, I'm going to give just a few more seconds again, just as I see more responses coming in. Okay, so it looks like 50%, the biggest bulk, say that it's not reliable or the data quality is poor. And then it's pretty evenly split, 17% among the last three. So a bulk of people say that it's not reliable.
Okay, it's not a surprise at all. I do understand the data quality becomes one of the very big challenges, especially when we try to use it for decision making. If the data is not reliable, we are missing data or we cannot really trust the numbers. It puts a big question mark on the ability of our data analytics resources to enable decision making, and then business users go back to their hunch and they say, okay, I know I've been doing this for the last 30 years. I know how do I do it? I'll just go back on how do I do it the way I understand the market runs. Okay, thank you for your feedback on this, and let's try to see how can we use cloud scale analytics using modern data platform, and see the common patterns we can use it for, and that addresses all of these things. So these are the three common patterns or the scenarios where people leverage cloud scale analytics, building the data platform in cloud. Either they are trying to build the modern data warehouse because they want to integrate all their data sources, then make it available for decision making. So whether it's big data or the small data or the transactional data, they want to combine all of them. Or there are people who are trying to do more of predictive analytics, like because they want to understand the customer churn, that why customers leave their businesses, and understand the customer loyalty or how do we attract. They use something, the data platform for advanced analytics kind of a scenario or a use case, to a real-time analytics who are really trying to get insights in real time so that they can take some actions in real time. So let's take a moment to go through each of them and understand how do you enable each of these scenarios. So let's see modern data warehouse. Describe how data warehouse serves business through this architecture. So modern data warehouse sits at the heart of enterprise analytics as a source of sanctioned data, as a system of record, and as a hub serving models for reporting, business intelligence, and data science. So a modern data warehouse will let you bring together all your data at any scale very easily and get insights through analytical dashboards, operational reports, or advanced analytics. It is combining all your structured, unstructured, or semi-structured data and bringing them into a data lake blob storage. And again, as you can see, there are multiple ways. I'm showing you the diagram here. Depending on where the source of the data is coming from, you might use slightly different tools for ingesting of data. Typically, you are using Azure Data Factory kind of pipelines to have connected to the systems of records that already comes, and the Azure Data Factory, in addition to relational sources, also have hundreds of connectors for online web SaaS kind of applications and sources like Salesforce. You will be able to bring that data directly in. Or if you are dealing with unstructured world, you can use multiple of data source, things like even HD Insight that uses and leverages Hadoop and Spark kind of technologies to bring in the data. Or you are bringing the data from your own applications that is running directly in cloud SaaS application, and that might have a relational engine like Azure SQL database behind the scenes. The idea is to bring in the data from all of these sources into Azure SQL Data Warehouse, as it says here, or the Azure Snap Analytics. That's the new technology that replaces Azure SQL Data Warehouse, and use it for servicing your consumption need, whether it is building dashboards and reporting using Power BI, or even external other dashboard and visualization tools and technologies, or even business consumptions like we saw in the previous slides, for building cognitive services tools or conversational intelligence, UI, those kind of things, or building machine learning algorithms directly on top of that and using it for downstream consumptions. Azure Synapse Analytics or the SQL Data Warehouse allows you to do this at scale with dynamic ability to scale up and down and able to leverage all the data together. So the next use case we looked about, how do we enable predictive analytics? This is one of the flavors that you will be able to use to build a platform that is more suited towards predictive analytics. It will transform your data into actionable insights using best-in-class machine learning tool. And this architecture will allow you to combine any data at a scale to build and deploy custom machine learning models at scale. It will bring together all your structured, unstructured, or semi-structured data. And it will use like tools like Azure Databricks to clean and transform the structureless data sets and combine them with your structured data. So the data that is you're getting from your systems of records like sales or CRM systems can combine it from unstructured data that is coming from other sources. Like it could be the customer call logs that's coming from your telephony systems, and or surveys and opinions that is open-ended textual based things. You can combine them together and then use it for doing actionable insights. Use machine learning, deep learning techniques to drive deeper insights from this data using the language of your choice. So Databricks platform supports whether you are a Python shop or R shop, or using a Spark kind of a technology and have a lot of Scala developers in your organization. You can build notebooks using Databricks that is seamless to like Jupyter notebooks that you've been using in the past in a single platform. You can leverage native collectors between Databricks and Azure SQL Data Warehouse or Snap Analytics to access and move the data at scale. And power users can take advantage of inbuilt capabilities of Databricks to perform root cause determination and even the raw data analysis. So all the data in its very raw format can be used and leverage and analyze through Databricks and understand root cause of why certain things are happening and what is the likelihood of certain things can happen. And you can even run ad hoc analysis using all this platform. And lastly, on the right side, you see how do we serve. So one way that we have been talking for the last 30 minutes or so is use Power BI to build dashboards and analysis for reporting, analysis, visualization. But you can also build intelligent applications like conversational UI or cognitive services. And you might want to host the data the outputs coming out from the Databricks into something like NoSQL database using Cosmos DB technology. Moving into the real-time analytics, this is a scenario that can take the data as it is generating and coming to you at speed, at a different variety of speed and velocity, to analyze in real time and take some actions in real time. So before we even get into the architecture and how exactly this is done, let's think about what are some of the real-time scenarios, like fraud detection in real time. Somebody is using credit card and then they see a fraud. I think for the banking companies will see a fraud, they will be able to detect in real time and can notify the customer that your card is being used right now. Even connected cars, like nowadays the connected cars like Teslas and Volvos and Mercedes that are launching, you can get the signals from the sensors from the cars and make some decisions in real time as the car is driving with driverless cars. To use it in a retail kind of a e-commerce example, you can use it for doing clickstream analysis. So as customers are coming and browsing your website, you would want to offer them certain promotions and offer. You can do that through that. Or in a healthcare kind of a scenario, you need to do it real-time patient monitoring. We can use this kind of architecture for that. Or even running the IT infrastructure and networking monitor to see the threats on our own networks. This kind of example architecture can be implemented. Or lastly, in the supply chain management or manufacturing kind of a shop, it can be used for real-time demand and inventory management. We can get insights from the data as the data is streaming. And the way this is working is real-time ingestion of the data will happen through some technologies like IoT Hub or Event Hub or Apache Kafka that brings the data in the system, and the machine learning models that we have built using the machine learning tools like Azure Databricks or Azure Machine Learning. You use the data that has already been trained and stored. You use the stream data to run the data through your training data models, score those events that is happening in real time, and make some real-time actions and steps that you take to for actions downstream that you need in your business systems and applications. So that concludes the how do we build a modern data platform? What are some of the strategies that is needed? Why cloud enables and why cloud is needed to enable the building of a modern data platform. To the three scenarios that are common scenarios that companies are using to leverage one of the flavors of this modern data platform in today's world. And like I mentioned in the beginning of the webinar, this is one of the ways you can build your modern data platform. Even within Azure world, Azure itself offers multiple flavors. You can build your ingestion engines and transformation and consumption engines. So with that, let's look at some of the case studies of how we have helped, Motiveworks have helped customers build their data platforms on Microsoft Azure platform. So the one that we are talking about is an online food grocer, a very large Northeast-based food grocer, who is enabling grocery shopping from the couch in their living rooms. And they currently were running their data warehouse using on-premises infrastructure with Oracle technologies and having all the reporting done through business objects. And they are running into boundaries of on-premises capabilities that they can do because with the expensive Oracle licensing, they cannot even have high availability and disaster recovery kind of an environment. So they were looking to leverage Azure to maybe enable them to scale as well as allow them disaster recovery kind of environment, and then build on top of that to get into the journey of future predictive analytics and machine learning. So we help them migrate from their on-premises into the Azure world and move their Oracle data warehouse into Azure SQL Data Warehouse, which is now called as Snaps Analytics. And it was a lift and shift kind of a migration where we were moving them into their existing ETL technologies in a lift and shift in Azure world, as well as leveraging their continued massive investment in reporting and dashboarding using business objects. But at the same time, we are also working with them to modernize and transform that data into Azure cloud native services. So this is another case study which is more suited towards a machine learning data science kind of a case study. Here it's a retail convenience store which is serving US mid-Atlantic region with hundreds of locations. They already have their data warehouse built on premises where they can analyze the point of sale data and understand the sales, the store sale, the region sales, the year-to-year sales and everything. But they are really looking to arm their category managers with the information to drive and manage their product category better, to understand what products have affinities with other products. So like what exactly customers are buying, what other products they buy when they come to buy a certain product, and how can they use these insights to come up with promotions and bundling and then have a better return on investment. So we help them move their data from their existing on-premises data warehouse into Azure platform and build machine learning algorithms using like market basket analysis to understand product affinities, and used like clustering kind of technologies for doing segmentation, and then allow the category managers to understand the products in their category better. That concludes our presentation for today. I hope you were able to get something out of it today. And this is, like I said, first in the series of cloud scale analytics. We will be having future webinars and sharing our knowledge with all of you. So I'll hand it over back to Sarah to take it from here.
All right, thank you so much, Tarun. That was very insightful. If anyone has any questions, please use the chat box to ask your questions now. You can type them in and I will read them out loud so they can be answered. If you would like to know more information, feel free to contact our cloud services team. The contact information for Kirk is listed on your screen. And as Tarun mentioned, we do have some more webinars coming up. The app modernization webinar will be the next one in our series, and a date for that will be released soon, probably most likely in the new year. And please feel free to follow us on LinkedIn. Just search Motiveworks on LinkedIn to stay up to date on other events, webinars, anything that we're hosting, anything that's going on for us. So I'll give you guys a few, I guess, let's say 30 seconds to a minute to submit any questions that you have so we can get those answered for you. Okay, so there was a question about, can we get today's slideshow by email? Yes, we can send that out to everyone. You'll also be getting a recording sent to your email. So keep an eye out for that. You'll likely get the recording by the end of the day today, if not sooner. So just definitely keep an eye out for that. We can put a link to the slideshow as well in that email. All right, we do have another question. How can ETL technologies like SSIS be used in modern data platform?
All right, thanks for the question. Really appreciate it. Great question. So you already mentioned about SSIS, the ETL technologies. I think ETL SSIS is a great technology for transforming the data, and when we are building the data warehouses kind of solutions on premises. In a modern data platform world, when we are trying to build the data platform in cloud, and we are using the horsepower that the cloud solutions provide, especially solid tools like SQL Data Warehouse and Snap Analytics, we can leverage the power on the horsepower that comes with these tools and technology to transform the data. So we do not need to extract the data and then first transform it in a middleware somewhere outside the data warehouse and then bring it to load it into the warehouse. We can use ELT concepts, which is extract the data, load the data, and then transform it. So that's what the cloud technologies allows you to do. Is you don't need to, that's why the pipelines and the connectors are needed, are useful in Azure Data Factory kind of a solution. You can connect, you can load the data into a warehouse and then use the horsepower of warehouse to transform those data. Thank you for the question.
Great, thank you. We also have another one. Can you explain the difference between Azure Synapse Analytics and Azure SQL Data Warehouse?
Okay, another great question. Thank you for that. I'm sure this was probably asked by somebody who already has some knowledge about Azure SQL Data Warehouse. So Azure SQL Data Warehouse is Microsoft Azure's cloud data warehouse platform, which is based on MPP technology of massive parallel processing. It uses high compression and columnar storage. The same engine for running your data warehouse is a part of the new tool called Azure Snap Analytics. But along with this is only one part of it. the Azure SNOP Analytics, in addition to having your SQL Data Warehouse engine to run the warehouse, also has the pipeline engine to build your data pipeline directly in Azure Snap Analytics. So you do not need to spin off an Azure data factory to come up with the pipelines to ingest the data inside the data warehouse. If you are already an existing customer of Azure platform and already have Azure Data Factory, great, continue using it. But if you are starting new and you are using Snap Analytics, you do not need to spin off Azure Data Factory. You can create those data pipelines and the connectors that are available through you through Data Factory directly in Snap Analytics. So that's the main difference. Thank you for the question.
Great, thank you. All right, another one for you.
All right.
When is it best to use the data lake versus the data warehouse?
All right, another great question. I think we are getting some very engaging audience. So data lake and data warehouse, it's not the question is not really when you should use one versus other. They are actually complementary to each other. So traditionally people were building like operational data store and staging databases to store the data or use it as a landing zone. And a lot of times the data is available to the end users only when the data is transformed and ready for consumption in a data warehouse environment. But today's businesses, I think like some of the scenarios we saw using predictive analytics and even the machine learning tools and technologies, the businesses cannot wait for the data to be transformed and certified and ready for business use when it comes to the warehouse. And the power users, the data analysts and the data scientists, they are anxious to use the data as early as possible, as soon as it arrives, even in its raw form. So today's power of the tools like Azure Databricks allow them to use and leverage the raw data in a raw format, run the transformations themselves, get the insights that they're looking for, and generate the directional insights to drive the businesses. But it does not mean that you do not need this data to be in data warehouse. Eventually, this data needs to still be certified and make it available into the warehouse for rest of the organization to use and consume. So that's the way you think, depending on what your use case is. Some users will go directly and access the data from the data lake, while others will access the data through the data warehouse. Thank you for the question. Great question.
Okay, great. I think this might be sort of a follow-up question. Do you need the data warehouse when you can do the modeling in Power BI?
All right, so this is another great question. So now the similar way the thing we just addressed, definitely Sarah, this is a kind of a follow-up question. The way you use data lake versus data warehouse, or the way it complements, Power BI and data warehouse also complements. So think of a scenario where you're building your data model in Power BI and did all your data modeling transformations and shaped the data for whatever reporting need that you had. So that creates a data set that sits and lives only in Power BI data set. So if some other user wants to create a version of that kind of a report, and he is not aware of your data set, or even if he's aware, he would want to use some other data in conjunction with your data set, he will have to repeat all those transformations together, or all of the transformation again. So Power BI definitely allows you to transform and create data model and shape it, but for making the data available and transformation available for broader audience, for enterprise scale, you need to do this in tools like Azure SQL Data Warehouse, or you can even use tools like Azure Analysis Services to do this. Thank you. Thank you for the question.
Okay, great. I'm going to give you guys just a few more minutes to ask any questions that you have. We've really gotten some great questions. Really appreciate it. Very, very good questions.